This is the Flex Network. Flex on everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Flex Network. I'm your host, Flex Shane. You can follow me on Twitter at the Flex Network 1. Today, I'm joined, of course, by Brandon Adam. You can follow him on Twitter at BrandonDAdam19. And Mike Dickinson. Follow him at Mike_Dickinson. Boys, my God, it feels like it's been an eternity since we last talked. Brandon, you in particular, how you doing, brother?
I know, man. I'm so happy to be back and actually talking fantasy bat with you guys. During the draft, I was all my hockey teammates were laughing at me because all I was doing was just following the draft the whole time, and they were all having a good time hanging out, and I'm just sitting there just nose in my phone trying to figure out what was going on with the draft.
I love it. Good morning, Jennifer. Good morning, Clipboard
Morning.
Jesus. And good morning, Mike. How the hell
What's
are you
up?
doing?
What's up?
Yes.
Good. We're back in the kids' playroom, so excuse the cartoon map of the United States back there, but we're back.
I love it, dude. I love that you're educating the youngins like that. That's great.
Heck yeah. There's
that's great.
if you look that way, there's a Barbie dream house right there as well. So
There you go.
That's what we're doing. That's how it's happening.
I would say it's pretty accurate considering there's a bunch of grown men talking about fantasy sports, but
Right.
it is what it is, right?
Heck yeah.
So it feels like a long time ago already, but it was only a week ago that we had the NFL draft. Our guy Flex Matt was down in Vegas. We went out, we bought a fancy microphone for him to go conduct interviews. I think we got a couple videos, but I don't think we got a single interview out of him. So I guess shame on us for thinking that we could send Flex Matt to Vegas and actually expect some content, but that's fine. It is what it is.
All he did was go down there, party, and got Rona. It's just, it's just what it is. He didn't get us any content.
Dude, it went downhill the moment he got upgraded to first class.
It went downhill from there.
God.
He went from Flex Matt to Mimosa Matt in about 35 seconds.
I know it. That's just that was hysterical. He was drinking mimosas, dude. That's great.
It was pretty sick. I mean, he went down there and he was staying with Sully, our boy Sully. So Sully from Houston. So it was pretty cool. I mean, just having him on the ground, he did have some fan reactions when they made their picks in the first couple rounds. So that was cool. But ultimately,
that was cool.
Yeah, but ultimately, we've got everything in the bag now. We've gone through. We're in a couple rookie drafts already together. One of them's complete, so we have a good feeling on what our general feel is, and when we're building our rankings for our subscribers, we generally want to provide, okay, what would we do when we're on the clock? And so what we've done is we've each done our really top 3 rounds, because after that it's kind of a dog's breakfast in terms of what you think can happen. I mean, people are going to reach a 4th round pick for me, might be a 5th round pick for you guys, and vice versa. So we really wanted to narrow in on the top 3 rounds because that's really where you make your hay in fantasy football. And we have some discrepancies here, boys. So without burying the lead, I think we should just get right into it. What say you?
Yep. I say that. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to share a screen so that the good people can see exactly what we're doing as well, what we're talking about. I think it's a little bit easier, visually speaking.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you on the podcast feed, I apologize in advance. TS, go watch on YouTube. Okay, so right at the top, I mean, Breece Hall, 101 for all of us. It was our consensus 1, and honestly, really no surprise there. But we really start to diverge right at the 2nd pick. And what we have as our consensus ranking is Treylon Burks, wide receiver from Arkansas, now the wide receiver of the Tennessee Titans, probably the wide receiver 1. Yep. He's our flex rank 2. I have him as my 3, Mike has him as his 3, and Brandon has him as his 2. Okay, fine. Doesn't sound like there's a big difference there, right? But what's glaring here? The fact that Kenneth Walker is not at number 2, at least in my opinion. Right. And that's because Mike has him as 5. Brandon, you have him as 4. So I'm going to defer to Brandon on this one first, simply because Brandon's probably was the highest on Kenneth Walker out of anybody I knew. He fell to the Seattle Seahawks, which is, of course, Brandon's team. So, Brandon, tell the people why you're being a coward here in ranking
Oh,
as your
has
fourth
nothing to
player.
do with being a coward. Has everything to do with opportunity. The way I rank my dynasty ranks, it's about immediate impact and what I think is going to happen this coming up year. And with those two wide receivers, Treylon Burks and with Drake London, they walk right into 8 to 10 targets per game. And their floor is really safe, in my opinion. I think they're going to be able to instantly give you, wide receiver 2 production right off the bat. And with Kenneth Walker, he's still got to battle Penny for snaps. He's got to, who knows what's going on with Chris Carson. But even though I think Chris Carson is never going to play down again, but he's still training. I still see videos of him training. So I don't know if he's going to come back this year at all, or Pete's been kind of non-committal about that. Yes, I absolutely am massive with KW. I love KW so much, and I think he is a great scheme fit for Seattle. I think he's exactly what the Seattle Seahawks need. I think I'm very happy that they did not draft a quarterback and they just decided to roll for 2023 quarterbacks. And KW, he was the highest graded guy on the board when they picked that pick. And it fits their scheme. It's their run first scheme. It's just you're going to have to wait a little while. I think you might have to wait a little bit. And, Penny was a first round pick, even though he's as frustrating as it gets for a prospect coming out of college, he still was damn good the last 6 games of last year. So I could totally see Pete going with a committee type thing. Just like Denver Broncos did with JW and Gordon last year.
Mike, why are you so low on him? Same reasons? Or is there anything else?
Yeah, same reasons. I mean, we're looking 2 to 3 year windows on this thing, and clearly it's going to be, Penny's under contract. I agree. I don't think Chris Carson's going to play down in football again. He shouldn't. His health is his main concern. Neck things are scary, man. But I think that it's going to be a share this year. Do they put Penny in the early down and put Walker in the late down role, the third down role? Maybe, and then what do they do? What do they do next year? Maybe Pete says, you know what, we're exposed at quarterback. Maybe they end up playing better than they thought they were going to, and they don't have as high a draft pick. They can't get the quarterback that they like. So, maybe they punt out to 24. So now you're at 24 with a new quarterback. You're rolling in 23 with either Geno Smith or Drew Lock. So I think that from a talent standpoint, I think that Kenneth Walker pre-draft, he was our number 2. He was absolutely our number 2. I like it much better as an NFL landing spot than a fantasy landing spot, to be honest.
Yeah, that's exactly what my thought process was. It's just about immediate opportunity. And the safe floor for those 2 wide receivers it's very evident that when you trade AJ Brown to bring in a rookie wide receiver and you have nobody on that roster besides Robert Woods that's coming off of ACL, that means they are going to lean heavily on Burks early and often. And I would rather have that early off the bat. And honestly, but if I need a running back versus a wide receiver, I have no problem taking KW second. That's fine. You can do that. These top 4 picks, in my opinion, after Breece Hall, the 3 picks after that, you can kind of interchange them on your roster construction and what you like. That's on you as a drafter. But for me, the way I look at it is I want immediate production right away, and Treylon provides that.
I think those are all valid arguments. Really what it comes down to is I think you guys are undershadowing just how damn good Kenneth Walker is as both running back. And hey, listen, this is why I'm calling you boys out. I'm calling you out on your bullshit, Brandon. And I will say it. Let me just say, okay? Clipboard Jesus likes to talk a lot of smack, but he said something kind of nice. He basically said, I would say a lot of things about Brandon, but Coward would not be there. Look, okay.
Coward would definitely not be that.
In real life, we get it. But when it comes to fantasy football, Brandon, I'm sorry. You're being a coward. In this instance.
No, I'm not. I put my number 1. Dude, I put Burks, my biggest flag plant, as number 2. Like, that is my big – I got so much shit for the last few months over Treylon Burks being my number 1 guy. And look what fucking happened. He's going to be a wide receiver 1 alpha right off the bat with volume. Of course I'm going to back my guys. Like – I love KW. I'm not saying I don't. I just think just because of the opportunity, man, it's all about opportunity. That's the only. I'm sticking to it and leave me alone.
So for those of you, just to peel back the onion a little bit for the viewers, what I like to do is that when I do my show sheet, I like to draft out what I want to talk about. But pretty much all I put on this one was give Brandon some bait and let him go, baby. Because that's it. That's what the people want. Just put him on tilt. Okay, I agree with you guys, what you're saying. Bottom line is I think Kenneth Walker, based on that draft capital, based on the talent profile, look, they've got the rookie camps going on right now. And I get it. It's rookie camps. There's nobody covering them. But Kenneth Walker's making a few catches. There was one that was going around social media yesterday. So I think you guys aren't giving him enough credit. I also, guys, I think you're undervaluing what Pete Carroll thinks in terms of just give the guy the rock. So I think that Kenneth Walker, week number 1, is going to get 18 touches. He's probably going to get about 15 touches on the ground, then probably about 2 or 3 receptions through the air. And that's he's going to have that upside. He's got breakaway speed. He's got the proven touchdown production. So the guy's got a nose for the end zone. He's a finisher. So at the end of the year, if you close your eyes, if Kenneth Walker has, call it 1,200 yards rushing, 1,100 yards rushing, maybe 150 yards receiving, and 11 total touchdowns, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. So, he's immediately going to be a high-end RB2 right around that 12-13 mark. So he's going to be an RB1/2. And when you look at my board, I like colors. So I color coded this.
I like colors.
I like colors. I'm a color guy. I'm a visual person.
Oh, shit.
And you color code the different positions. You got Breece Hall at the top. You got Kenneth Walker as our consensus 3. Then you got to go all the way down to number 13 to see Rashad White. So to me, it's like, all right, we like Treylon Burks, but there are shades. I'm just going to say shades of N'Keal Harry in his prospect profile. Okay, I'm just saying range of outcomes. Okay, Drake London, similar thing, right? We've seen how the NFL is evolving. So when you're trying to really dissect and split the hairs, that's why I have Kenneth Walker as my 2. But I don't hate it. Look, everything you guys said, and then you just bake into the fact that, albeit we like to play in 2 to 3 year windows in Dynasty. In 5 years from now, who's more likely to be on the team? Probably Trey and Drake, right?
Yeah, they're going to be the ones.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. All right. Okay. The next guy I want to talk about, again, we're splitting hairs here. One thing I do really like, though, is that Chris Olave, Mike, you have him as your number 2 prospect overall. And
I do.
I love it. I love it. So for all the people out there saying slant boys in New Orleans and Chris Olave is not going to be the best fit for a Jameis Winston type offense, what do you tell the people? Because I'm on your side for the record.
So I tell the people, actually I look at 3 things. First of all, you look at the draft capital. He was taken in with the 11th pick of the first round. So was he 11? Yeah, he was 11.
He was 11.
Yeah. Yep, that was ours. The Garrett Wilson was throwing me. So he was 11. They went up. They traded up to get him. They won him.
Yeah.
You worry about the fact that Sean Payton isn't there, but do you really worry about the fact that Sean Payton isn't there? Pete Carmichael is still the OC. Pete Carmichael has been in New Orleans for 17 years. He's been technically titled as the OC for 14. He hasn't really called the plays. It's always been a Sean Payton offense, but you figure that Carmichael had to weigh in a little bit on this selection. Jameis Winston is going to be back. They signed him again. New Orleans was 5-2 with Winston under center as the starter before he hurt his ACL. By all reports, he's progressing nicely, recovering from his injury. They're thinking he's going to be back. He might start camp on the PUP, but they're thinking he's going to be back to start the season. The Taysom Hill experiment is off the table. They've moved him to tight end. He's going to be a gadget piece. They brought in Andy Dalton to be the backup to Winston. So everything there is lining up for it. You also hear about the fact that Michael Thomas is not progressing as quickly as they want to. There was a report that came out yesterday. His ankle still is jacked up. So here's what you like. You like that they got a guy like Olave who is quick in and out of breaks. He's a silky smooth route runner. He can get loose after the catch. And then you get the fact that he's going to work with a professional quarterback. You think what you think about Winston. He's a professional quarterback, but he's also going to get the chance to learn in that wide receiver room from arguably one of the best guys over the last decade and a half to play the position of Michael Thomas. So you got a guy that has a high football IQ going to a high-powered offense in a wide open division with a quarterback that loves to sling it, learning from one of the alphas of all alphas. Sign me up for it.
Yeah. I can't say anything against that. That's so true. And I think honestly, there's 3 wide receivers in this class that can walk in and be the wide receiver 1 for their squads. That's that's Burks, London, and Olave. And I get it. If you're not, Mike has been saying for the last 2 months that he doesn't like those big wide receivers anymore. He likes the guys at route running specialists that know how to separate and make, he's only following his process. That's exactly what, so many, Roster Watch had Olave as their number 1 wide receiver throughout the whole process. So I can totally see that, and I'm not hating that at all. I get it.
Yeah. So sometimes I just got to look in the mirror and realize when I'm calling you boys a coward, I myself am also quite the coward because I've been hyping Chris Olave, and we were texting. We're like, man, I'm so tempted to put him above Treylon Burks. And what do? I have as my 6th overall prospect, my wide receiver.
Oh,
so I'm a coward.
I put him above Wilson though. So
yeah, I love Wilson so much. He's just It's again, I'm splitting hairs. It's one of those situations where so I've been in 2 drafts now where I've had the opportunity. Well, the first opportunity was I got Treylon Burks at 1.5, which I was thrilled about that. But then I was at 1.3, tried to trade back, didn't have any suitors. At that point, both the running backs are off the board, and I made the calculated decision to go with Drake London at that point. Okay.
Woo!
So and it's just because, look, I'm trying to play odds here. Chances are one of these guys is probably going to bust. That's just a fact.
Yep.
Right? So
going
to go with Drake in one league, going to go with Trey in another league. If I'm sitting at that 4 or 5 spot and both those top wide receivers are off the board, I'm probably going to do the same thing. I'm probably going to split the difference between Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. It's just going to be a 50-50 sort of thing. So call it cowardice, call it what it is. I'm just calling it playing the probabilities, and that's kind of where we're at. So I would say definitively our top 6, we're all on the same page. Kenny Pickett, I'm a little bit lower on him than you guys. I have Jameson Williams ahead of Kenny Pickett, as well as it's just JMO ahead of him. You guys have obviously Kenny Pickett above him. What is it you guys don't like about Jameson Williams, or is it just you like Kenny Pickett that much? Mike, do you want to start with that?
I've been as staunch a critic as anybody with the hand size with Kenny Pickett. I think that there's opportunity for it to, small hands. I think there's opportunity for it to kind of go sideways. Playing, they said, he played in Pittsburgh, but the Steelers play much later in the season than Pitt does. By the time the treacherous weather got going there, Pitt was into their playoffs. So I don't know. He fumbled 39 times when he was in college. That's a lot. So it is. That said, you look at the draft capital, you look what the Steelers invested in him, you look at what they paid Mitch Trubisky. They did not pay Trubisky to be a starter. They're paying him $7 million a year. And in this NFL, this the year of our Lord 2022, $7 million a year is backup money. So you're paying Mitch $7 million. You're drafting Pickett. You've seen Pickett in the building for the last 6 years. You know what he is. You know what he's about. They saw him. They grabbed him. I like it. I think he's going to get a chance to start right away. When you're looking at Superflex, Seslavsky says it all the time. Quarterbacks are more valuable. So, do you take a shot? I've seen Jameson Williams, I feel like is a 50-50 prospect at best. He could end up being a Devonta Smith, or he could end up being, a John Ross or God forbid, a Henry Ruggs. Not because of what happened off the field with Ruggs, but because of what the player that Ruggs was on the field. I mean, he was an inline guy. He's quick off the line. He's good for the shot plays, but he's 6'2", 179. He's slight. And I just worry about that with everything else that Detroit has going on offensively. So looking at that, weighing all that, I just feel like Pickett is the safer pick in a super flex.
If you look at Jameson's body type, can he handle volume? Can he handle 10 targets a game, every game in the NFL? And that's, I don't know. I really don't know. We'll see, but his talent is there. It's evident. If he wasn't hurt, so many people would have had him as the wide receiver 1 of this class. So I get it. I'm actually kind of nervous about fading him a little bit, but with Amon-Ra, Hawk, Swift, and
Chark.
and Chark as well there. I mean, that is going to be the targets are going to be spread out pretty thin. I think he's going to probably get 5-6 a game, to start out. And we'll see if he grows from there. I just feel like with the injury, you're taking. I don't think we're going to see him until November, or until late October. So I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah. So Brandon, the word on the street is going to go into PUP, which means 6 weeks is what he's going to miss for sure. Obviously that could change, but it sounds like it. I think just what's just interesting about Jameson Williams, like the difference between him and Henry Ruggs is that Jameson Williams had the production in college more so than Henry Ruggs did. And I get it. Ruggs was maybe playing with some high quality players at the time, but I think Jameson Williams is hands and above a better prospect than Henry Ruggs. So let's just call it.
I agree with that.
Yeah. But. Yeah. But no, I don't hate it. Like Kenny Pickett in a super flex league, you're going to get that quarterback. He's got the clearest path to starting, and as a call it somewhat solid QB2, that's what you need in Superflex, right? Especially in a draft class like this where it's not great. Go for it. He's going to have 2 to 3 years, chances are, to be the starter, and it's a guaranteed locked-in production.
And think about
after
it.
that.
That offense is so loaded. That offense is so loaded down for him to be able to succeed. I mean, he's got Deontay, Claypool, and now George Pickens with Pat Freiermuth and Najee. I mean, that is a loaded offense. And, the two outcomes, he's either going to be Daniel Jones or he's going to be Derek Carr. Like that's what, with a little bit more mobility. And that's about it. And I think I think he's going to be a solid starter. It's just with Superflex, like Alan always says, the cheapest you're ever going to get a quarterback is in the startup and is in the rookie draft. So if he is kind of, sort of, it's true, but I don't know. I think he's going to be pretty good. I think it's a good fit.
Yeah, no, I think that's sharp. And so going down the board here, we got JMO, and then we got Sky Moore, which I think we all love. We're pretty much consensus number 9. I got him at 9. You guys both have him at 10. Jahan Dotson, I got him at 10. Mike's got him at 9. Brown, you got him at 11. And then Christian Watson. So I think that's pretty generally consensus. The one guy that seems to be glaringly missing is one James Cook, the Buffalo Bills running back, drafted at 2.13. I have him as my 11th player. Mike, you've got him at 24. Brandon, you have him at 22. Guys, what the hell are you missing? Like, what's going on here?
Actually, we should ask you what you're missing.
Yeah, what are you missing?
Okay. James Cook, he's got the breakaway speed again. He's an elite. I'm going to say that word. He's an elite pass catcher. He's going to be in arguably the best offense in the league. Devin Singletary is the definition of just a guy. And James Cook, albeit he's only 199 pounds, he does have the ability, if needed in pressure situations, to be a 3-down back. Now, will he? Probably not. But chances are he might not be the first down back, but it'll probably be second down and third down. And I tell you what, as the Bills continue to evolve, do you really think Josh Allen is going to continue to want to run the ball? I get it. In playoff situations, in necessary situations, he's going to do it. But I guarantee you, he's being told, if you want to have a 10, 15-year career in this league, you want to go, you look at what Tom Brady did. Tom Brady was never mobile, okay? But what did he have? He always had a reliable passing down back. He had James White. He had Kevin Falk. This is the type of...
Just stop.
Here we go, Brent.
Just stop. I'm going to stop you right here. Just stop. Okay,
why?
When early in this offseason, Buffalo Bills were looking at J.D. McKissick, okay? They wanted J.D. McKissick. They don't want a full-blown – they're going to go full-blown RB by committee. And when you got a guy like Allen, he is going to be getting – still, he's going to be running in inside the 5 plenty this season. That is never going to go away from his game. That is his – that's his mentality. That is what makes him special, man. And that is why I don't think he has the mentality to check it down at all. I think he is a guy that's going to believe in his arm and believe in his feet before he checks it down 90 times like J.D. McKissick got in Washington. That's not going to happen in Buffalo. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. I would be blown away if he got 55, 60 catches. And if you're going to draft that and he's not going to have the rush in the first round, shame on you. That's going to be he's the biggest landmine in this draft, period. And that is why I have him where he belongs in the mid-second. And people are just – it's because everybody wanted KW to go to Buffalo. They wanted Breece Hall to go to Buffalo. So they just automatically figure any running back that's going to go to Buffalo is going to be some epic prospect, an epic boom of a player, and it's just not true. It's just not what's going to happen. They didn't get the 2 alpha running backs for a reason. They got a third down pass catching back to fill that J.D. McKissic role. And even Brandon Beane said it in his presser conference last week. We brought him here to do some pass catching and to give a Singletary some kind of rest once in a while. That's it. And if Devin Singletary early in the years with Josh Allen, before he even really matured as a pass thrower, he still wasn't even that successful in that offense. Okay, this is not a run offense. This is all through Josh Allen. That's it. And I'm telling you, people that are drafting him in the first round, like Adam Rank gets paid a lot of money by the NFL Network to put out content. This clown freaking took him at 103. Like, what are you doing? Like, that is the biggest fade. This is the easiest fade of the whole draft. And I'm going to be sitting back laughing about it all season because everybody that drafted him in the first round is going to be very upset they did that. That's just, okay. I'm sorry. Like, it's just not going to happen.
You want to pile on before I rebuttal?
No. I think both things can be true. I think that he can be an elite prospect and he can have all those measurables. Like he is a great pass catcher. He's fast. He's a little bit slight, but I do think that the landing spot is really what tanked him for me. Like I wanted him to go, if he had gone to somewhere like Tampa Bay, where he would be the number 2, the pass catcher to Fournette, he would feel that what we thought Giovanni Bernard was going to be for the last 2 years. If he had gone somewhere like that, I think I would have pushed him up. He probably would have been the back end of round 1, beginning of round 2. But I think that the landing spot scares me. They haven't moved on from Moss. They haven't moved on from Singletary. The other thing that scares me about Buffalo too is that Daboll's gone from there and Ken Dorsey's calling plays for the first time. So that coupled with the fact that Brandon Beane straight up said we look at him as a great sub back. That's
Thank you.
That's what scared me off him. Honestly, Shane, I agree with you 100% on everything that your assessment with him up to draft day. But then when we got to day 2 of the draft and he hit there, that's what scared me off him.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the first time in the history of fantasy football where we're using day true draft capital going to arguably the best offense in the league as a negative against the running back.
It's not the draft capital. It's the landing spot.
That's exactly what I'm telling you. If you guys are telling
what they do.
You guys are telling me Devin Singletary is going to spell James Cook in the backfield.
It's going to be the other way around, sir. It's going to be the other way around. The lower Devin Singletary will be the first and second down back. Cook will not be the first and second down back, period. And if that happens, only way that's going to happen is due to injury, period. And even if that does happen, why is it frustrating for everybody to get a running back with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray? It's because they like to run the ball, right? They take some of those opportunities away from running backs, right? That is a problem. And now you're telling me we're going to have 2 different backs that do the same exact damn thing. They literally do the same things almost. Like they signed Duke Johnson. There's 3. 3 of them. Same thing. Like, and you're going to tell me this guy's going to get elite production? No, that's not going to happen. I'm going to take my guy, all these wide receivers way before Cook is ever a thought.
Can we just compare this for a second? Okay, let's talk Devin Singletary for a second, okay? He was a third-round pick, granted early third round, 310. Okay, he's 5'7", 203 pounds. Okay, so just the measurables, like facts, okay? James
203
Cook,
pounds.
a second-round pick. There was every other running back on the board except for the top 2 guys we've already talked about, okay? He is 5'11", 199 pounds, so he's 4 pounds lighter. Okay, this is where the difference is. Devin Singletary had a 4.66 40-yard dash, which was a 17th percentile speed score for his size. James Cook had a 4.42, that's a 94th percentile 40-yard dash, or a 78th percentile speed score, okay? In college, he had 21 receptions last year. Devin Singletary, granted, let's see here. I got to pull up his college numbers here. I got to scroll a little bit further. But Devin Singletary had 6 receptions at Florida Atlantic coming out in his last year. When you guys talk about the quality of a prospect, James Cook checks every single box. Do you think I'm not worried about Zach Moss? Zach Moss isn't even part of this conversation. Zach Moss is a death piece at this point. The conversation is going to be Devin Singletary or James Cook. You guys talked about it last year. Devin Singletary had a good finish to end the year. That's going to be James Cook in week 1. Okay, Buffalo was not exactly flush with draft picks this year. And when they were picking, it was at the back end of the round. So they had to nail every single draft pick. Why in the world would they spend second-round draft capital when they could have gone and get Dameon Pierce later on in the draft, or even waited on Rachaad White later on in the draft? Like, to me, getting a Tyrion Davis-Price, giving a Brian Robinson, getting an Isaiah Spiller, like, if they really didn't envision, like, guys, listen, okay, I don't care what the coaches say. I don't care what the GMs say. You better,
because they're going to rip your heart out.
What they do? They like to lie to you. They lie.
Why would they lie about, dude, they told you what their plan was throughout the whole offseason, man. James Cook would not be a Buffalo Bill without J.D. McKissic going back to Washington. Can you understand that? That is the role they were trying to fill, and that is what Cook is going to fill. He is not going to get 90 catches in Buffalo. He is not. When you got Diggs, you got Davis, you got Khalil Shakir, you got Knox, you got Crowder, you got all these pass catchers. You are not going to be a run-first offense, and not even close to being neutral. They are going to be 60% pack. Like, it's not going to happen.
I don't want James Cook in a run-first offense. I want James Cook in a pass-first offense.
But if he doesn't have any rush floor, he is dependent as fuck on just getting pass catching. And that's not good enough for me to draft somebody in the first round over guys like Pickens, like Sky, like Watson. That's insanity to me that you think he's going to become a 3-down workhorse when he's not. They are trying to fill a role. They lost out on J.D. McKissic. They thought he had him in the bag. He wouldn't be a Buffalo Bill, and if that happened. I'm sorry. They are filling a role. They are not trying to have a Najee Harris back there where they're going to give him all the one back, all the opportunity. That's not what Buffalo does. They are never going to do that.
Here's the thing, Brandon. It's not a matter of why you're not drafting him. It's who you have above him. Like, you do have Rachaad White above him. You've got Dameon Pierce above him. You've got David Bell above him.
Damn right.
Like, it's just, I think it's a mistake to be fading James Cook, the third drafted running back off the board. We're going to have to agree to disagree on this one. I think at the end of the year, if you close your eyes, he's probably going to have 700 to 800 rush yards. He's probably going to have close to 40 to 50 receptions, and he's probably going to have close to 300 reception yards. He's
500 rush. That's all he's going to get is 500 rush. That's it. That's all he's going to get. And I'm telling you, it's not enough for you to take him in the first round, man. You're going to be kicking yourself when you got Christian Watson, the number 1 alpha for Green Bay. He's going to be the guy, and you're telling me you're going to draft a sub back, a third down back ahead of that? That's just not what I do. That's just not what I do.
My last point, okay?
Go ahead.
My last point. One of the most first of all, how do running backs typically score the most fantasy points in leagues? They score by catching the ball, okay? You compare him to like an Austin Eckler, who, albeit went undrafted, but you compare it to like an Austin Eckler and how he scores. Like, you don't think that James Cook in a year or two could have equal production to a guy like Austin Eckler from a talent perspective?
No.
Yes. His speed score is one of the most predictive metrics for a running back in the league. When you compare Christian Watson, I love Christian Watson, but the problem is that athleticism is not conducive to production in the NFL. You look at Christian Watson, and he had 43 receptions for 800 yards and 7 touchdowns last year.
It's about the opportunity, man, and what they're drafted for.
The
roles. It's the roles. Like, they are looking at Watson as a 1. That's what they're thinking he was. They knew that was their guy from the beginning. That's why they didn't take him in the first round. That's why they were targeting him in the top of the second. That's why they moved up to go get him. Like, that's insane to me to think about. You got a running quarterback, you got Devin Singletary, and you're gonna tell me somehow Cook is gonna become Austin Eckler? I don't think so. I don't like that. That is not what this offense does. That is just not. Until I see it, I'm not believing it.
Okay, that's fair. The problem is the boat's you're going to be too late. The boat's going to be out of the harbor.
I'm fine with missing on him.
It's going to be at the great seas. That's totally fine. For the record, I've got Christian Watson 1 spot behind James Cook. I'm drafting James Cook above Christian Watson. the last thing I'll mention, okay, we talk about evolving quarterbacks. What happened after Patrick Mahomes dislocated his kneecap when he tried to do that sneak? He stopped running the ball. He consistently stopped running the ball. It's how good quarterbacks evolve. Stop.
He's not Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a truck, bro. Like that is never going away from his game. Like it's just not.
A kneecap can get dislocated at any point. I'm just saying, look, you look at how running quarterbacks evolve in the league. Your boy Russell Wilson, how did he evolve? Because when he kept running the ball, he kept getting hurt.
It's all on Pete, man. No, that offense changed the day they stopped running Russ. I'm telling you. If they would have ran Russ at least 4 or 5 times a game strategically early in the game, a lot of those play action passes, they would have been biting a lot more in the second half, and you would have had DK over the top. But they decided to not run Russ. Maybe Russ didn't want to run, but that was a big deal that they didn't run him, designed a few more times on re-options. We can move past this, but I'm just telling you, if you're drafting Cook in the first, God help you.
Okay, the problem is you guys have him going at the back of the second, which means you're going to get.
That's fine. That's where he belongs. He's a committee back. He's a committee back. I'm sorry they overdrafted a guy because they're trying to fill a freaking. Because they probably thought who can be the best pass catching back in this draft, and it's Cook. And that's fine, but that's his role. It doesn't mean he's going to be the first and second down guy where the floor comes in and where you can literally beat any kind of game script. Like that is, to me, it just tells you there's a reason why Zamir White was the first and second down back. There's a reason. There's a reason for that. And that is why.
Role. He was good at that role.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's move on. We can be here all day. I'm higher on James. I think generally speaking, guys, you guys are lower than consensus by far.
Good.
On James Cook.
Yes,
so that's fine. It is what it is. Let's talk about Malik Willis. Okay. Malik Willis, I have him at 60 and slightly below you guys. You guys have him right around that 1-2 turn. Brandon, you have him as the 12th pick off the board. Mike, you haven't done a lot of talking. You got Malik Willis and Desmond Ridder back to back. Tell me about Malik and tell me about Desmond Ridder and why you've got them where they are.
So actually, I have all three of those guys clumped together: Malik Willis, Ridder, and Corral, and that's kind of like a tier thing for me. So basically, what this amounts to is they all got significantly less draft capital than we thought they were going to. We thought we could potentially see as many as 5 of those guys go in the first round. I think that was kind of a fool's errand, but we were hoping we would see at least 1 or 2 of them, two or three of them go in the first round. So because they didn't, because they all kind of fell into that third round capital, for me it becomes a personal preference. I've always been a Ridder guy. I think Ridder will probably have the better long-term NFL career. I think that from a fantasy standpoint, I think that Willis does have the slightly higher ceiling because of the rushing ability that he brings. That said, if he can't figure out how to make those mid-level throws, I don't know when he's going to see the field. I think Ridder's going to have a better shot than Willis to see the field this year, and Corral could end up seeing the field day one if he beats out Darnold in training camp. So this is a tier thing for me. It's a clump thing. It's a personal preference thing.
I agree with that.
I think I'm too low on Matt Corral. I'll have to adjust my rankings because I have him right around 3.1 essentially. So I think I got to move Matt Corral up. What it came down to for me is just when I'm looking at players, I like this guy better. I like this guy better. I like this guy better. To your point though, so one of the things Brandon and I were chatting about before the show was just the current Ryan Tannehill contract situation. And so there are some people saying that he's locked into a deal because it's about an $18 million dead cap next year if he was to be cut. But according to Spot Track, they've gotten out after this year. So my guess is it's somehow related to as of if he's on the roster after a certain date, that's when his contract is guaranteed, or they get stuck with that $18 million dead cap. But all signs are pointing to Tennessee Titans are looking at their options because as much as Ryan Tannehill was amazing, frankly, shockingly amazing 2 years ago, last year, he regressed to the mean, and he was an above average quarterback. So in a league of 32 teams, he was right around 12, 13, 14 in that range from a real NFL perspective, fantasy aside. Okay. So I honestly don't think Tennessee had any intentions of drafting a quarterback, but when he falls to the 3.22 in the NFL draft, they're like, holy shit, Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis is a raw prospect. We could seriously bench him for 2 years, have Ryan Tannehill locked in, and then move on from him, right? Then you're done. And if Ryan Tannehill has the season that he had 2 years ago in 2022, well, frankly, that's a good thing for the Titans to have, right? That's what they want. In which case, they've got Malik Willis, they develop him, and maybe they trade him, right? And then maybe you turn that round 3 draft capital into a round 2, maybe even round 1 draft capital. So I think that for the Titans' perspective, it was a no-brainer. I love the press conferences. I love just the chip on his shoulder that Ryan Tannehill has, and he's quickly becoming one of my favorite, like, just dudes in the NFL. I love Ryan Tannehill. He's just a cool guy, man. But I get it. For me, I have him as one spot ahead of Desmond Ridder, but path to starting, I would argue Desmond Ridder probably is going to be 100%. The most likely to start out of these 3 guys.
Yeah, I think I have Willis a little too high just because of the opportunity for Ridder. You're right. I think it's a tier. I think you're right with that, Mike. I think it's like pick your flavor, whatever you want at that spot, like with quarterback. At 12, 13, you can literally get any quarterback besides Kenny Pickett. Whatever you want to do if you're in super flex. And I wouldn't hate if you took Ridder ahead of Willis, whatever. I just think Willis is a slightly better prospect than Ridder. Ridder has the prototype size and all that good stuff, and I think he does have himself a very good opportunity to do something. If Mariota flounders at all, they're going to throw Ridder in there just to see, because we were talking yesterday or 2 days ago about it with Flex Matt, and he was talking about the over and under for quarterbacks drafted in 2023 draft is like 6.5, like 6.5 quarterbacks. Yeah, that's wild. Like, that's a lot of quarterbacks. And we brought up Ridder, the fact that if he doesn't show significant, improvement with the offense whenever he does take over, and Atlanta has a top 10 pick, they are very well going to go grab themselves a franchise quarterback, and then just trade Ridder or sit on Ridder's value, because that was his true value, a 3rd round quarterback like that. Yeah. I'm actually proud of the NFL for not overdrafting these quarterbacks. Like I really thought they were going to overdraft these guys and throw them in the 1st round, or at least top of the 2nd, and they didn't. They kept stuck to their guns, and they did the right thing, and they drafted them where they were appropriately supposed to be at. But Ridder, I think you can take Ridder ahead of Malik if you wanted to. I have no problem with that.
I think Ridder is Tannehill plus. Obviously, Arthur Smith had Tannehill in Tennessee. I think he sees a lot of the same traits. And you look at the way that they're building that offense, I think they're building that offense to resemble what they had in Tennessee. So Burks is not exactly A.J. Brown. Drake London is not exactly A.J. Brown, a slightly different body type. But you have the big alpha on the outside. You have a tight end. I think that Smith wanted to have another pass catching tight end. I think that he hoped that Jonnu Smith would be that in 2020. But when they had the offensive line problems, they had to pull Jonnu Smith in line, and he ended up blocking a lot more than he wanted to help prop up that run game. So you got the pass catching tight end in Pitts. They drafted Tyler Algiere this year, who I think has a legit shot to be. He's not Derrick Henry, but he has a legit shot to be like a 3-down workhorse because of his size and because he has a low workload coming out of college because he only played running back for 2 years. He's a converted linebacker. So like if you look at it, you see him kind of building this offense in the same vision that he had built Tennessee in. So if you look at it, you see Ridder can be Tannehill plus. I'll take that. At the top of the 2nd round, I can get back in QB1 production out of him in a super flex league. I'll take that any day of the week.
I got a question for you guys. So in a recent draft that I was in, I think you guys are both in the draft with me. I had Christian Watson that fell to the 2.1. I ended up taking Christian Watson ahead of, I think Malik was off, but ahead of Desmond Ridder. Right decision,
Okay.
Do you think?
Yeah.
That's one thing Yeah. I think so.
I think 50-50, I think it's the right decision. I think half the time I would go quarterback, half the time I would probably go Watson. Watson is freaking raw, man. He is.
So raw.
He's extremely raw. So I don't necessarily agree with this, but I think it was John Hansen say that he thinks that Dubs could end up being the better performing wide receiver in Green Bay over the first 2 years because of how raw Christian Watson is.
I wouldn't. We'll see. I mean, The only comment on that wasn't Romeo Dubs at the Senior Bowl? I believe he
He's a
was,
jag.
right? The
Yeah,
fact that we have to like ask, was he there? Whereas Christian Watson was, I think, definitively one of the top two. I think Jalen Tolbert was the best, but the top two wide receivers at the Senior Bowl. So, pound for pound, Romeo Dubs is just a guy. He's essentially going to be the slot guy. He's going to, I think it's good for him. He's got Randall Cobb that he can learn under, but I'm not too worried about that.
Everybody's forgetting about Amari Rodgers, man. That guy can ball.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. We liked Amari Rodgers last year. What was he, a third round pick?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Off the
Second
top of my head.
round.
Was he second? I think that might have been a reach.
Yeah,
but,
pretty sure he was a second.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. So
isn't T. Martin his dad?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
know
T.
who that
Martin
is.
is Amari Rodgers' dad. Let's check.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay.
Okay, so going back to our board, so top of the second round, this is where things really do get interesting, right? Because we've got some running backs in there, we've got some wide receivers in there, we've got some quarterbacks in there. A guy that I want to talk about is George Pickens, wide receiver going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We can all agree, right? Like he's there to replace Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson. He's in a contract year. I'm pretty confident they're going to re-sign Deontay Johnson. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on George Pickens?
I think that if Pittsburgh takes a wide receiver in the second round, you should drop what you're doing, turn your ears and your eyes towards the screen, write down that goddamn player's name and draft him in your fantasy drafts because it's worked out really, really well. That Claypool was a fourth. He worked out well his rookie year. Deontay was a second. I remember grabbing Deontay in startups in 2019, grabbing him late, being like, 2019 was the first year that I ever played Dynasty, so I wasn't real well versed on it. So I remember diving in and being like, well, it's a Pittsburgh wide receiver. Pittsburgh's done pretty well with these wide receivers. I'm going to take him. And it's worked out. So I think it was kind of messed up that they made Chase Claypool announce the draft pick of his replacement. Like that's next level trolling out of that organization. So good on them. I think they've soured on him a little bit. I think that, the way that end of the year played out with Claypool and those shenanigans, I think that he's not as mature as they hoped he was. He hasn't matured the way that they wanted him to. It's ironic that they draft a guy in Pickens to replace him, where you've seen maturity issues, documented maturity issues, alleged documented maturity issues. But we'll see. From a physical standpoint, Pickens and Claypool are both extremely talented. But at this point, because of the capital, I got to lean Pickens.
Yeah, I can see that.
The next guy on the board, Clip was mentioning him about a value in round 2, is David Bell. I love David Bell. All he does is produce. The problem is he didn't have the testing, really. Yeah. Okay, so Nicholas Buckledge says he's getting Pickens everywhere. He's going to ball out. I agree, man. If you've got an early second round pick, take that shot on George Pickens because he's absolutely going to ball out.
Yeah, I should have Pickens above Dameon Pierce right now. I just looked at it more, and yeah, for sure, you guys convinced me to do that for sure.
We got Kevin. What's going on, Kevin? How we doing, brother?
Thanks
for tuning in, guys. David Bell, though, man. So this is a guy that just where I've been in drafts, I haven't been able to get yet. But if he falls to like the 2.5, I think it's a smash. All he did was produce and produce. I'm not going to go into my rant. I think I ranted about 3 weeks ago on the show, just talking about how much I love David Bell. It was our Bold Calls show. I talked about how much I love him with Clip on the show. And I'm glad we're all on board with that. Although, interestingly, Mike, you're the highest on him of all of us. You got him at the 12.
I'm extremely on board with him, apparently.
That's where we had him originally pre-draft. That's where I had him originally pre-draft. I just bumped him down just due to the fact that other guys performed a little bit better, and that honestly, because the quarterbacks dropped into that area where he was going to be going in the pre-draft process for me. So that's why he got pushed down a little bit.
Yeah, and it's just him at the 12 is predicated on Landry not going back to Cleveland. It looks like he's not going to. It looks like Baltimore has some interest in him, so that's why he was there. I mean, he's going to get that. He's going to get that opportunity. If eventually when Watson gets on the field, he's probably going to be suspended to start the year. I think that offense is going to be just opened up wide. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think Cooper's going to produce. I think Bell's going to produce. I mean, you look at the production that Watson had his last year that he actually played in Houston. I mean, he threw for 4,600 yards. So, I mean, he's got to be thrown to somebody. So it's just,
Yeah.
I think it's, and I think that, thank goodness, I think that finally Nick Chubb will be the beneficiary of a lively passing game. So you got Cooper, you got DPJ, you got Bell, you got Harrison Bryant, hopefully
Schwartz.
you get the tight end involved.
Schwartz.
Schwartz, made a Schwartz be with you.
Yeah,
You get
for
the
sure.
tight end involved a little bit here. I think that it's going to be an extremely exciting offense to watch when Watson finally gets on the field. And that's
Heck
more
yeah.
what it was. It was more of it's about the receiver, it's about the production, but it's also about the landing spot too.
And if you think about it, I mean, Amari Cooper gets hurt all the time, right? He's always banged up. David Bell will have games where he is the wide receiver 1 for that week. He will have blow up games, and I absolutely love David Bell. My comp for him was Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, that kind of world for him, and I think he can totally succeed with Watson. And I think I think Cleveland has done quite well with their offseason this year, and I'm actually pretty pumped for the Cleveland Browns and to see what they end up be.
Yeah, man.
Baseballs.
My only worry about, look, David Bell, whether you get him this year, whether you get him next year, David Bell's still quite young, right? He's only 21 years old.
Yeah.
There is, I don't know if you guys saw this. I can't remember the guy's name, but in the MLB, there was some sort of sexual allegations towards a player. They gave him 2 years. They suspended them for 2 years. Now, I would say the MLB is a lot more strict than the NFL in terms of player discipline. But
Yes.
the more I think about it, this is just Shane Sealy percolating in my brain. I think they could give Watson the entire season. I think they want to send a message that, because, frankly, the Browns did kind of play with the salary. We've talked about that on the show when it happened, where, what is it, a million?
It's $1 million bucks.
All he is $1 million on the books this year.
Yeah. So if they give him a 1 year suspension, it's not going to be the worst. It'll be worse for Amari Cooper, who's aging, than it will be for David Bell.
Yeah.
So
I'm on the exact opposite. I think he gets like 4 games. That's it. I think he gets 4 games, and
I think he's at least half.
I think the NFL is doing Watson a solid by slow rolling this whole thing. I think the NFL they want him to play. They don't want him to not play. I think they want him to play. So I think it's 4 games.
Here's the thing, and I get that it's pre-prescribed, but when DeAndre Hopkins gets 6 for trace elements of a banned substance, 6 games, and then 22 allegations against Deshaun Watson, and he gets 4. To me, it should be. It should be a game per allegation. Like that's what it should be. That's easy. Because that's what
allegations, man. I think that's what the NFL is trying to tell us right now. The reason they didn't rock him already with the suspension is that these are all allegations. They've done their investigations, and I think they feel that maybe he got railroaded a little bit, and I think they feel that way, and I think that's why this has been a slow process, because usually, NFL is pretty quick with it, quick with that stuff. As soon as they're done with that investigation, they are pretty quick, and for them to still even to allow him to get signed and traded and all this stuff, I really believe that the NFL is going to allow him to play majority of the season.
Nicholas is asking, how many games do we think Kamara is going to get?
2.
2?
2 for punching out a dude? Sure.
Can I ask you something? And this is, I don't want to be political about this, but I understand that there's a difference between punching a woman in an elevator, like Ray Rice did, versus
a dude.
Versus a dude. I get it, but it's still violence against another human being.
Sure.
Don't you think that we're kind of broken on that? Like, Ray Rice was literally pushed out of the league for this.
I'm always a proponent of focused violence is okay sometimes. So
you're a Marine.
What did Kareem Hunt get? Kareem Hunt got 6 games for that.
I'm not a Marine.
What were you, Brendan? You were just
I was a Army, U.S. Army.
Just in the Army. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Our boy Mike Yeager was a Marine. I guess that sucks for both you guys are a little bit cray. Yeah.
Didn't Hunt get 6 games for that elevator incident with that woman in Ohio?
I think so.
I think he got 6 games. Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the minimum at this point for him. So 6 games. We're totally aside. Where are you guys drafting Alvin Kamara? Round 3 at best. He's pretty much faded for me. I'm fading him.
Yeah.
I think I've got him 3.5 on my board, which means I ain't going to get him. which is fine.
Yeah,
I don't have him anywhere.
He's back, and I think he's like RB 18 or 19 for me, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
We
All
might
right,
be
boys,
overreacting. We might be overreacting on it, but it's what it is.
we could, but it's based on the information we have as of today, right? Like,
yeah. Let's keep moving.
Let's keep moving. What we're gonna do here is okay. What I want to do here, because we're right on that 55-minute mark. I want to go 1 or 2 players, Brandon, that you don't want to leave your draft without in rounds 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you have a couple players?
Yeah, of course. Tyler Algiere, my guy I talked about from the beginning. Tyler Algiere, 3-down back out of Brigham Young, he led the nation in touchdowns for running backs, and yardage was insane. He was this was like his first full year as a full-time runner. He was a linebacker. He's tough, gritty. I think with Arthur Smith, he likes those banger backs, man, that can take volume. And he had Derrick Henry, and I think he's getting himself a 225-pound back that's 6 foot that can bang and handle a big workload. And I think Cordell Patterson is going to be more of a wide receiver this year. From what I've been reading from the tea leaves, is that out of those people down at ATLs, they're saying that Cordell is going to be more of a regular wide receiver, so he'll get more snaps there. But he will get snaps behind the line of scrimmage for sure. But the opportunity is there. All they got is Damian Williams. They just cut Mike Davis. Damian Williams is just a guy. I mean, when he was with Kansas City during the Super Bowl, he looked great, but that was a few years back now. So he's getting older.
30.
Yeah, he's also 30. So like he's getting older, and when you see a young guy running next to the old guy that was your selection, you're gonna want to see what he can do. And Tyler Algiere is one of those old school guys, James Conner type. That's who I've been comping him from the beginning. Everybody's stealing my comp. I've been saying that from day one with this guy, and now everybody on this planet is using James Conner as his comp. And that's that. I think he's the guy that I like a lot. And I also like Jelani Woods. The tight end that went to Indianapolis. I think that is a guy that is super athletic that can really take over that position for them. Mo Ali Cox is, he's fun. He's big and whatever, but like he's not the answer. I think they wanted a more athletic tight end. And Woods isn't a blocker, man. He was a quarterback at one time. He knows how to sit in zone, and he knows how to beat coverage. And we're going to find out. And those are 2 guys I really like that are late round guys that can really pop.
Okay, I'm gonna take this one next, Mike, just because Nicholas is asking a question about the 49ers' new running back, which is Tyrion Davis-Price, aka Ty Davis-Price, aka TDP, or Nelson Aguilar.
We were talking about it. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I'm taking TDP over Nelson Aguilar. Absolutely, Nelson Aguilar.
Oh my God, yeah.
Not Nelson Aguilar. Tyler Algiere.
Well, that's Algiere. Oh.
No, that looked like Aguilar.
Oh, it says Aguilar. I thought he said Algiere.
Aguilar, yeah.
We were talking about that.
You know what? Maybe it is Algiere.
Is it Algiere or Aguilar? Is it Nelson? Just type Nelson if it is.
Yeah. It's all good. So personally, I'm taking TDP. I like TDP in the second round. He was, pre-draft, not on my board at all. Didn't talk about him. Frankly, didn't even really know about him, right? Like, you look at rankings, you do a little bit of reading on these guys, but I didn't really heavily scout TDP because, frankly, he didn't have crazy numbers. He had a decent draft, though, or a decent combine, and then he got to draft capital going to the Niners. So I'm comfortable taking a shot on TDP pretty much anywhere in round 3. If I'm at the start of round 3, I'm at the end of round 3. If he falls, I want to get Ty Davis-Price on my team, simply because he's going to the Niners. The Niners, we like what happened last year with Elijah McGuire, but it's the Niners, man. Roll the damn dice. And if TDP comes out and he performs, he's going to get a decent share of that backfield, and I just want a piece of it. So if I'm spinning the wheel at round 3 is where you're going to go for heavy upside, and just based on what has happened in the Niners backfield, I'm taking a shot on TDP.
At that ADP, for sure.
Well, here's what I think
Yeah.
too with TDP. We talked about this. Well, I talked about it. I don't know if you guys heard me talk about it. I think that he's going to get those Debo backfield touches.
Yep.
TDP is huge. He's 6'1", 235. Debo's thing is he didn't want the backfield volume. All of a sudden, he follows the 49ers again on Instagram. I think he's going to get the contract. I think they say, all right, it's cool. We'll put you as a receiver. We went and got this guy who can carry a big guy who can carry this workload out of the back. He's a different back than Elijah Mitchell. Mitchell's hurt. Mitchell's fragile. Mitchell's fast. I think TDP is sneaky. I think he's going to get those Debo backfield touches.
I think people are going to be so frustrated with that whole backfield.
I think the whole
Niners.
offense, I'm staying away from the whole thing.
That whole
Did I
offense
say
is going to be different. Yeah, you said Elijah Moore.
I said Elijah McGuire. Oh my God.
McGuire. Yeah, it's Mitchell,
Yeah.
but it's fine.
Yeah,
It's your first day on the job.
That's my first day on the job. The one thing, the thing that sells me about TDP is one, he's got the size. He's 6 foot. He's 219.
Yes.
Like you mentioned. High BMI, 29.7. He's young. He's 21.5. He played at a larger school, LSU, albeit LSU isn't the same now without Joey B. But he had a 90th percentile speed score at 108.7, which was a 4.48 40-yard dash. So you just look at all of those little things. It's just those are the kind of guys you want to take shots on, man. Go ahead, Brent.
I got two more guys. John Mechie with the Texans.
Yes.
I think he can be a guy that is a legit number 2 in that offense. Brandon Cooks is there. Nico Collins is there. Brevin Jordan is there. That's another guy that I really like for tight end premium leagues. Guys, go get Jordan out of Houston. He's going to be nice. But John Mechie, he knows how to be that number 2 wide receiver and produce. He did it at Alabama when he was there with Jameson as well. Another guy I really like is Hassan Haskins, the backup for Derrick Henry. That is a primary backup guy, handcuff that can turn into a lottery ticket for you. And he's a big back, 6'1", 220, 225, big back. Exactly what Derrick Henry backup should look like.
Okay, Kevin's going to be a wet blanket here. He's going to say Mitchell gives him Philip Lindsay vibes. Small frame, can get hurt. No one to get big workload, especially in the 49ers backfield. Price is going to have really good value.
Dude, Flex Matt is freaking out right now with that because he's an Elijah Mitchell truther. I told him before the draft started, they're drafting a back, and I didn't expect it to be that back in that round. But I expected them to add some depth, and they did re-sign Jeff Wilson as well. Just so you guys know that, Mr. Oatmeal Pants himself. They love that guy.
Sermon's still there too.
Trey Sermon's still there. I'm telling you, it's going to be a mess. That's why I'm not touching it. I still think Debo gets some of those touches when they are down in a game and they want to make some big plays. I think they ended up giving Debo the tax for the add-on of a 15% tax to do those touches in the backfield. I still think that happens, but not to the frequency that they did last year, but he will still have some for sure.
Mike, give me a couple guys and we'll get out of here.
The two guys that I'm taking are right down the bottom of your board, Keonta Ingram and Isaiah Pacheco. Those are the two guys that I'm grabbing. So Arizona did not bring back Chase Edmonds. I couldn't even remember his name because I dislike him so much. They did not bring Chase Edmonds back. Keonta is in the same body type as James Conner. They're both big dudes. They both can handle 3-down work. So I think that if you have, and I got snaked on him in a startup. I was about to grab him and somebody took him 3 guys before me. So if you got Conner, grab Keonta in your rookie drafts. And then the guy right behind him, Isaiah Pacheco. I've been on Pacheco for a while. He's super fast. He's a big dude. He's 5'11", 215. He goes right into that Andy Reid offense. CEH is a runny nose and a bad play away from landing on the sideline, even though he's got that first round draft capital. Yep. Andy Reid has shown that he has no problem pulling the plug on him for a little bit. I mean, Darrell 1-0 Williams was a thing for a while this past season. So I think that the thing that scares you is Pacheco got that 7th round. He's got that 7th round capital. Yeah. They don't really have anything invested in him. But along the same lines, I think that if he performs, he's going to see the field. So, and at the back of the 4th, start of the 5th, what the hell are you losing? You're probably going to cut him or throw him on the taxi squad anyway. So he's not wasting any real time.
Yeah. So, Mike, you knew that I knew that you were going to talk about these two guys. Hence why I was pretty much, my cursor was right there. But
I appreciate it.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say about an Andy Reid backfield is I believe, look, if he's going to spend a lot of draft capital, he's going to give them opportunity. He gave CEH the opportunity. He didn't seize it. It's going to be in a meritocracy. Isaiah Pacheco, has the potential to be a better prospect, or maybe not a better prospect, but a better player in the NFL than CEH, which for all
And
my
Rojo.
CEH shares out there, Rojo, forget about Rojo.
Oh yeah,
He's just-
Rojo's there too.
Rojo's depth. It is what it is. And that's what it is. Isaiah Pacheco is going to have to beat out Rojo to be that RB2 in the offense. But
Is Jared McKinnon still there too?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe so. So
Jesus,
it's going
that's
to be pretty
crowded.
messy. It's going to be pretty messy. But the one thing I will say is Jerome Ford, he went to Cleveland. So he's staying in Ohio. He's a guy that I like in the, right around the 3rd, 4th round. And then Khalil Shakir, he's a guy that we haven't really talked about on this show, but we all have him pretty high. We all have him right around the pick 30. So again, round 3, mid-round 3. He has 5th round draft capital. He's probably not going to have direct impact or instant impact this year. He's probably more so the Jamison Crowder replacement than the Gabriel Davis replacement, but I'm closing my eyes. I'm saying next year, and we put this out there on Twitter, and we say, who's going to be drafted higher? I'm not saying he's going to replace Gabriel Davis, but who would you rather have? Would you rather have the slot wide receiver in Buffalo, or would you rather have more so the outside playmaker, maybe with the touchdown upside? I slightly side to Khalil Shakir next year.
You are such a hater.
Dude, I love Gabriel Davis. You know that I love Gabriel Davis. He's just being overdrafted this year.
He's Hey, Mario Puig. We can't talk about it yet, but
this is
me.
I
can't say anything about that yet.
Yeah, exactly. So let me just say, I like him. I feel like he's being overdrafted. Last year, I went out and I traded for him wherever I could. I traded, in fact, flex Matt to 3.1 in last year's draft for Gabriel Davis. So I like him. That's a
great trade.
The problem is, you know what's interesting though? What I find very perplexing is that I can't sell the damn guy. Everybody loves him, but nobody's willing to pay for him. So he's one of those odd prospects.
Just sell him to me if you're in my leagues.
Yeah, I don't have him in any leagues with you because you probably have him already. But it is what it is. So that's it, guys. Lots to talk about. I mean, shit, we barely touched the surface. We didn't even dig into half the 2nd round prospects. We didn't get into depth on the 1st round prospects because we talked about them so much pre-draft, but it's going to be a fun off season. It's pretty much now until the end of June. So the next 2 months is going to be rookie season. And then in July, of course, is redraft season. So we're going to be here every step of the way. Brandon, at the end of the calendar year, I'm either going to be crying or I'm going to be touting, baby, based on how James Cook does. But it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be exciting. So
I'll say this. His upside, his highest ceiling is probably Chase Edmonds. That's what he is. At his highest. So
I think he's better than that. But
I think his median is going to be a poor man JD McKissick. Because they aren't going to give him 90 catches.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. If people, I don't want to rehash it because you can just rewind the tape and we can figure out. Take.
Oh, just so Brandon, you better make a nice video of that one. That was a good. That was a good match right there. That was.
I'll have to. It'll be challenging to get it down to about 1:30, but we'll see what we can do.
All right,
Brandon, where do the good people find you?
Brandon D Adam 19 on Twitter. Give me a shout out, and we'll continue creating a mayhem on this podcast. Every time I come back here, I just love getting everybody frazzled. Because it's just what it is. It's what my job is here.
That's what we do, Mike.
On Twitter at Mike_Dickinson. Let's chat.
Let's chat, baby. Kevin, Nicholas, Clip, Jenny, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for interacting with us. We love it. It's why we're here, frankly. We just love talking fantasy football. If you guys like what you were listening to, you like what you watched, please please subscribe, please share. If you want to support the show, we don't ever talk about this. You want to support the show? Go get some of that. Go and get some of that flex gear, man. Go get some hat. Go get a shirt. Go get a hoodie. Go get a mug. Go get some sandals. You can get all of it. You just have to follow the link. It's in the show info. So help us out. It pretty much it goes to the bottom line and helps pay for this show. So we appreciate you. I'm Flex Shane. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at the Flex Network 1. So for Brandon, for Mike, I'm Flex Shane, and we are the Flex Network.
This is the Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody.